When Hurricane Sandy happened at the end of last October, it really ignited my interest in how we communicate with each other in an emergency situation. We all have cell phones and we rely on this infrastructure to work all the time. And sometimes it fails, or there's things that go wrong, or it's overloaded. There's so much that can go wrong in the infrastructure. And it got me thinking about ham radio, which is something that I had thought a lot about as a kid. I was kind of interested in ham radio. I joined a ham radio club where the gentleman who was running it, who was teaching us all about ham radio, gave me a book called like Let's Talk or something like that. And he gave it to me and he said I could have it as long as I promised to take the license test. And I didn't fulfill that promise until just a few months ago, actually, and it's always been something I've been wanting to do. I never quite felt right, the fact that I accepted this book from this gentleman and never went and took the test. At the time, I was a kid. Morse code was on the test, and I was having trouble learning Morse code on top of all the technical stuff. And also, I didn't really have access to equipment if I even did pass the test, so there was a few little barriers there. These days, you do not have to know Morse code to get your ham radio license, and the equipment is actually very, very accessible. This is a Baofeng UV5R radio. This can be had for $50, sometimes even less. You go on Amazon and you can see this for $50, or go on eBay, you'll see a lot of models a lot like this. It's a handheld UHF VHF radio. Something like this back then, when I was first learning about ham radio, would have cost a fortune and would have been totally out of the question. And nowadays, it's something that can be had pretty easily. And now that Morse code is not on the test anymore, you can get your license pretty easily. Now, I wanted to have my license and I wasn't sure what I would do with it, or how I would use it, or how I'd really fit into the ham community. And what's important to remember, I think, or it's what I learned from it, was that you don't have to, getting your ham license and being a part of the ham community doesn't necessarily mean you have to get a shack and load it up with equipment and wire up a huge antenna. You can really just get this and your license, and you really are a part of it. I can connect to people actually with just this all over the world through repeaters. There's repeaters here locally in New York City that are linked to other repeaters, and I can talk to people through that. And also, this is still quite handy in an emergency situation, and that's part of the reason why I have it. It can be also useful if you and your friends have a ham radio license. You can communicate with each other if you're hiking, or you're driving two cars somewhere. There's all sorts of reasons where it can just be practical on a personal basis. I think it's fun to experiment with. I think it's fun to play with. You don't need a heck of a lot to do it. You still do need to take the test. The test costs about, I think $15 to take it, but the test isn't even that hard. Just study and learn. You can take practice tests over and over and over again online, and before you know it, you've got a good sense of the kind of questions they ask, and you actually do start to learn the information by taking the practice tests. And it's just a good skill to have. It's something that, for me, it's just a neat thing to have just in case something happens, or it's just handy to have for whatever reason. Here in New York, there is a corps of volunteers who are ready, or they're ham radio operators. They're ready in case of an emergency. I haven't had a ton of time to join and be a part of their activities yet. I hope to be able to do that soon so I can learn all about emergency communications, because that's something that's really interesting to me. So I encourage you, if it's something that interests you, go find out about it, go check it out. If you go to the ARRL, the Amateur Radio Relay League, you get information about where you can find local tests and local ham clubs to get you started. But it doesn't hurt to get one of these and at least be listening to what's going on and getting a hang for what's going on. There's so many resources online to check out. So if you're at all interested, I do encourage you to check it out and see what that's all about. And feel free to contact me if you have any questions. I am by no means a ham expert, but I am glad I have my license. It's nice to have just in case, and it's fun to kind of play around with every now and then. I'll have another video for you tomorrow. Thank you for subscribing and commenting, liking, and sharing these videos. I appreciate it a lot. It's been a lot of fun, and I hope you're enjoying it too. Have a great day. Bye.